Guys, so today what we're going to be reviewing is the importance of your foundation to operate in the right foundational synergy to ultimately launch your online business and make money online with your online offer, right? So, guys, your foundation is your number one asset to build your operation on, right? What you don't want to do is you don't want to think that you can just go and launch an online business or launch your business without having your foundation on lock, right? Your foundation is your key, okay? Your foundation is what everything else is built on, right? I like to view it like this: spirit, mind, body. Here you have your foundation, right? The greater and more strong your foundation, the stronger and more functional your operation will be when it comes to scaling, right? So we have the operation, then we place systems on top of it, right? And then we place more traffic on top of it, right? And as you can see, we continue to climb the ladder to build a strong operation, right? So whenever the wind comes and shakes you, whenever life shakes you, whenever you get rocked, you have this foundation to be able to build your empire on, to build your life on. If you do not have this foundation on lock, and you have a very weak, flimsy foundation, or maybe you have a very small foundation, you're only gonna be able to build so far up compared to if you were to have a stronger foundation, right? So the reason why I state the importance of the foundation is because I ran businesses when I was operating in a very solid foundation, and I ran businesses when I was operating in a very poor foundation, right? Because the foundation that you build your life on are these three principles, right? Whenever you let these principles slack, it will bleed into the rest of your operation, right? So what it's important to understand is that you need to have these foundations unlocked to get to the desired output, right? You're never gonna have that foundational mastery that we talk about unless you operate from a sense of complete devotion to your mind, your body, and your spirit, right? These yield the foundational mastery necessary to drive these sort of results, right? But what you need to understand is whatever habits, diet, training, standard, and vices that you tolerate in your inputs are going to bleed into the outputs that you have for yourself and for your business, right? Right now we're talking about self because yourself, you come first, right? Your business is a reflection of how you operate because you are the owner, you are the CEO, you're the founder, you are the person that has instilled these morals and principles into yourself, and they will reflect into your business, right? So whenever you have solid habits, that will reflect into solid results, right? If you have good diet, you will have a strong physique, right? If you have a good training, you have a strong physique, right? Good results. If you have a good standard and you have cut out your vices, guys, you will have you'll have stronger growth, better communication, and in business, you'll have stronger revenue, right? This is super important to understand because without the proper inputs, you will never have the right outputs, right? And people think that they should have a certain output, but in truth, if you do not have a certain output, you do not have a certain input, right? It's all about equation, right? So X plus Y equals Z, right? For example. So that means that X plus X will yield a result, right? And X plus Z will yield a result. The variables that you input into your formula of the input and output formula are what's going to ultimately yield a result. If you're confused on why you're not getting certain results, it's because you do not first have your habits, your diet, training, standard, and vices locked in. The reason why you continue to bottleneck in your business is because you do not have the proper inputs to yield the proper outputs that you're looking for, right? Your desired result is on the other side of sacrificing these poor inputs, inputting proper inputs, right? To yield the right result, right? This is what we get into next. So once you have the proper foundation for self-mastery, right? Which is your inputs and outputs, having the right habit, diet, training, and standard, right? Eliminating vices and putting the right foundation in place, right? What you're gonna have is you're gonna have strong communication, right? You're gonna have better delivery, right? You're gonna have more authority. You're gonna have a stronger mindset. You're gonna have clarity, right? All these things are outputs of having the right inputs, okay? Whenever you have the right inputs, this equation works flawlessly because you're no longer tolerating the poor variables that no longer serve your mission or purpose, right? You're tolerating and inputting the variables that are actually gonna help you get the outputs necessary to breed the conviction that we need, right? Having the proper outputs allows you to have the proper conviction in yourself, have the proper conviction in your business, and ultimately allows you to succeed a lot quicker because you are no longer second guessing and you're operating from a sense of clarity, in your operation, in your life, and in your business, right? So once you have the right conviction, what does this mean to have conviction? You have belief, right? You have faith. It allows you to enforce the proper action in yourself and in your business, right? It allows you to build momentum, okay? This is key because a lot of people miss this and they don't think, oh, well, if I don't have to do the right inputs and I don't have to put the right inputs in, right? I don't have to eliminate those vices and I can still get these outputs. But your outputs are always gonna be tainted by these poor variables that you're letting in. You understand? This is why it's so important to cleanse your mind, cleanse your body, get the right habits, diet, and training locked in order to yield the right results that you need physically, mentally, and spiritually in order to be exalted at the next level, right? So once you have these outputs, it allows you to breathe the right conviction necessary to then have the proper conviction for yourself and the proper conviction for your business. This is how you build your foundation for flawless victory. Once you understand that success is never about the materialistic things, it's never about the things that are external, and it's all about who you are as a person, your capability, your conviction, your belief, who you are, your virtues, your morals, principles. It allows you to operate from a different sense of frequency, right? From a different frequency and perspective that allows you to achieve and ultimately build your foundation for something that will last, right? So what does this breed? What does this breed in yourself? This breeds the proper accountability in yourself, right? The proper standard in yourself, the better habits, right? More confidence in yourself, your training, you have the right diet, you feel good, right? Better communication with yourself and your family, right? Higher frequency, guys. This is what you need ultimately. This is why we need to lock in the foundation, is because once we lock in that foundation, it allows us to have the right outputs that breed the conviction to then breed the self standard accountability, habits, confidence, right? Communication and frequency. That's going to yield the right outputs, right? What does this yield? This yields personal alignment, right? Fulfillment and growth. You're no longer operating from a sense of fear, doubt, worry, because you've locked in the proper foundation to build on, right? The reason why you feel empty is because you have not first locked in these proper inputs for your foundation, right? And this is exactly what we get into next. Your business. What happens when you have the proper conviction in your business, right? You have the proper conviction in your business to then breed the right amount of revenue, right? The right amount of leverage over your business, the right amount of control over your team, over your operations, right? Clarity and authority, right? This is exactly what allowed us to do 84K in 24 days, right? For one of our clients. Midnight Marketing, go check that out, guys. You guys can check that case study out at Midnight Marketing. But ultimately, having the right foundation and conviction allows you to breed these results inside of your business that ultimately allow you to have consistent clients, right? 22K months with your offer, and you have leverage to scale, right? Ultimately leading to more revenue and more freedom, right? Once you understand that it's all about the foundation that you build on, you lay your foundation for the proper alignment with who your highest self is, right? It's all about aligning your identity, your mindset, and your character properly with these three core principles, right? If you guys have any questions or need any more insights on how we implement this for our clients in order to scale them to 100K a month, you guys can message me on Instagram at wolfspeech, and I will see you guys in the next one.